Good morning. This is Friday. It is May 20th. And we are at the Hyatt Regency in Boston. And we are getting set up. Hey, Karen. So we have we don't have much space. We're gonna have to get a little bit more space here. I think we'll ask them to, hello. We're gonna ask them to move those seats back a little bit because right now the first row of the audience is pretty much right where I need to be standing. That's always one of the challenges we face whenever we show up a new place. Can you hear me, Karen?
Yeah.
Excellent. How are you doing today?
All right.
Good to see you. It's pretty early here. So I anticipate it will be a small turnout. Maybe this is. I usually have some of my family on, but I don't anticipate any of my family being early enough risers to participate in this morning's event.
And well, lucky for you, this is the right time for me because it's only 5 to 10 at night here.
Oh, there you go. So it's like a normal time to start getting ready for a performance, for some entertainment. But I'll keep the camera on. I might have to move the camera slightly off to the side so it's not in the way of the audience. I won't record the performance, but it will be on. So little bonus for folks to do chime in this morning. So I get to see a nice little surprise pop-up performance here. All right. Excellent. So I'm trying to find the easiest ways to, now that I get I perform in this venue fairly frequently. So now that I'm a little bit more familiar with which room they're putting me in, I can decide what items I need to bring in order to be best prepared, not have to bring way more stuff than I actually need. So when you arrive in a venue and you're not quite sure what the challenges are, you always need to bring more things than you actually may use. And there's the aspects of setting up the performance, but there's also the aspects of like setting up the promotional materials. And so we have merchandise, we have t-shirts, we have stickers. So they have to get all of that set up as well. And I try to get that set up first so that if the audience comes early, which they often do, not so much for this performance because it's so early in the morning, it's 9 o'clock. So most folks are at breakfast. But if they do come early, they have something to look at. So they'll have the promotional playbill information to look at. And then they also have, the opportunity to see if they want to buy something, which is nice. A little extra income. Promotional table. And I always say you can't have a show without having a little bit of music, pre-show music. So I always have a little bit, either a larger sound bar or just a small, if I'm in a small room like today, small sound bar does the trick. I won't turn it on right now because it might affect your ability to hear. It was very interesting when I started touring. I would do things in a very time-taking manner. And then you start to realize how you can make things more efficient as you continue to tour, and your life gets so much easier. And you say, I can't believe I spent so much time doing it the other way.
Yeah.
But we live, we learn, right?
Yeah.
We live, we learn. So what is your day-to-day schedule like? Karen?
Well, it depends if I have anything on. Like, if I don't have anything on, I don't get up till the afternoon.
You find yourself more of a later riser?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And sometimes you're saying you had to, you slept through your alarm. So I thought, oh gosh, I wouldn't be able to wake up early. If I didn't have to, I usually will. If I don't have to wake up early, I won't set an alarm, and I'll usually wake up at 7 in the morning, but I won't get out of then I'll go back to sleep, and then I won't
Yeah.
actually get out of bed till like just before 9.
And of course, in winter in Australia, it's virtually impossible to get up early because it's so cold.
Right. And I mean, in the Northeast United States, it's quite dark in the winter time. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, same here.
Okay. Well, this front row is a little far up. So I noted that they changed the orientation of the room, and they put the water. No. I got here and the water and the table was in the back of the room. Last time we were here, the water and the table were over here. So I noted that they had pushed the chairs up a little bit. We might need to push them back 6 inches. And then if we don't have 4 people, then if we even take the middle ones away, I think the middle 4 from the front row, then we won't have to move all the other chairs back.
So I have some who are they're coming, but they have to be fine.
That's okay. I think they can
So
just,
they can sit, they want to sit.
yeah,
somewhere
they
in
can
back.
put their luggage by those chairs in the back, or I'm not
I think
quite sure.
that they may sit.
Oh, okay, that's fine. It doesn't matter to me. Doesn't bother me. I didn't, because I didn't know, I never know exactly how many people might need to leave, what time their flights are, so. Because Hannah sends me the actual guest count, but I don't know if that changes because of people's flight information.
And then I'm 27.
Okay. The whole first row, so we can just ask the events, meetings. I think if we call, I mean, either you can hit, I think the 0, if you hit that phone, they've told me if I need anything, or if you prefer I do it, I can do it. Just a moment.
We need one chair for me. Can we leave a couple in the front row?
Yeah, just on the sides. On the sides is fine.
Why don't we do 44?
I'm also on a live stream right now with some of our subscribers. So if you hear me talking to myself, I'm not actually talking to myself. So you might recognize, I know Karen, it's like people always are like, is who's talking to? Okay. You might recognize this tent. So this is one of the ways that we try to, make it a little easier for us loading and unloading the van. Thank you so much.
You have my room number.
Okay, yeah, 1105.
Right, 2 doors down.
Where it was before. Yeah, absolutely. So this, when we started doing the Krista McAuliffe program here, we had this really cool little miniature tent made to kind of create the environment for Krista's Girl Scout years. And then I realized, well, we could utilize this same tent for the Deborah Sampson program. So on one side of the tent, there's the Girl Scouts of America logo that's actually on here. Then on the other side of the tent, we've got the Massachusetts 4th Regiment, which is,
Wow, that's actually a really good idea.
yeah. So I'm always trying to find. Sorry. No. Okay. This is one of our subscribers is a backstage pass, Nancy. So that's what we're doing this morning. So it's a nice way to just, because one, I have a limited amount of space in the van because we have a cargo van, but we have 13 shows, right? So doesn't matter that we have a cargo van and we have so many shows, you still have to find a way to kind of minimize your footprint so that you can fit as much as possible into the cargo van. What was interesting is during COVID, when it was at its worst, we were doing all of our shows, in our studio where we live stream from. But then at various times, we'd have this like random in-person performance. It might have been outdoors or whatever the case may be. And, it's very difficult when you have all of your set pieces and all of your props up in your studio. And then you have this one random show where you have to go drive out to a venue. And invariably, you'll get to the venue and realize you've left something at the studio, right? Because it's used in multiple programs. So I got to it during COVID where I got very, very careful with making sure I did not leave the house until I had looked over every room, every crevice, every nook to ensure I hadn't found.
Yeah.
So our girls, the girls came out this morning.
Yeah.
These are our models, our little models. Right in the heart of downtown Boston this morning, which is quite nice because I've worked down here for many, many years. 16 years I worked downtown Boston, so it's always nice to be able to get back downtown. Especially it's a nice day today. So you're gonna be in Florida, you said, right?
Yeah, Florida 1 week and then New Hampshire the next week.
Oh, so are you specifically going on a Krista McAuliffe tour?
Not a tour, like she's the only one that I know for sure where the gravesite is.
Yep. Well,
The-
she is in Concord in the cemetery. I'll let you know. It took me a little bit of time to find her. She's, if you're on the street, she's sort of on the, if you're looking at the cemetery from the street, she's sort of on the right side, not too close to the street. She's kind of up a hill. She's almost at the edge of a hill. And they've got nice little walking trails, walking paths throughout the whole cemetery. But she's not like in a very obvious spot. There's no major sign. There's no sign saying here's Krista McAuliffe. So, but her grave does say McAuliffe on it. So once you find it, it's pretty easy to
had it not been for COVID, I probably wouldn't even know about Krista McAuliffe.
If it wasn't for what?
If it wasn't for COVID, I probably wouldn't even know about Krista McAuliffe.
Really?
Yeah.
It's interesting. When did you discover her story?
Well, I've always been aware of the Challenger disaster, like ever since I was a kid, but never the context. 2020 was when I found out the actual context.
Right. Were you always very interested in space?
No, that came from the Challenger disaster as well.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting.
Well, I mean that was Krista's point. She wanted to get the younger people interested in it.
Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. See, I'm so happy you know these things. When I was doing research on her and I went to her, her hometown, which was also where I grew up. So it was even more interesting to me. People that were born, in the mid 90s who had attended the Krista McAuliffe Charter School, they didn't know that, the story behind why she was selected. So it's so interesting.
That shouldn't be the case, but
What was that?
I said that shouldn't be the case for a school named after her,
And then I was thinking, did I know, I went to a middle school that had a person's name, And I thought to myself, did I know why this school was named after this person? And I realized I hadn't. So I immediately looked them up. And so now whenever I go to perform in a school, I'll actually make a point to look that person up, the name up, so that I can try to bring it up during the performance. And 9 times out of 10, the students, they don't know that the school that they've been attending for, sometimes 4 or 5 years, why it was named after this person. Just take it for granted.
Because you were what? 2 when you saw the challenge of disaster.
Hold on one second.
I put that upstairs.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
I get it.
No, you're good. Yeah, I'm all set.
Walk right in when you're ready.
Oh, thank you.
But I've at least started with it.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. I'll move the other side once I move the stuff off of there. Thank you. Sorry. Thanks for your understanding.
Oh,
I'm gonna move. Yeah. Once I get everything set up, I'm gonna move these bellhop things out of the way. Okie dokie.
Yeah, you would have been about 2 when the Challenger exploded, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but I remember it pretty clearly because my sister's 5 years older than me, and because I grew up in the town that Krista was raised in, like a lot of her teachers knew Krista. They went to college together, and so when she watched it in class, one of the teachers really lost herself. She became very agitated, very upset, and it was very impactful for my sister to see that, because that teacher was generally quite stoic,
Yeah.
quite calm. So when you're a kid and you see something like that, you realize something's wrong, something's bad's happened.
Yeah, I didn't have that until 9/11, and I was already 9 when that happened.
Right. Yeah. So for you, that would have been the eve. So I wonder, when did you actually learn about it? Did you learn about it as it was happening?
Yeah. Yeah, Mum came in and told me as I was getting ready for school.
Oh, wow.
Because what happened was she was up the previous night and she saw the plane hit the tower live.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That was a day we won't ever forget. And definitely not in the United States, for sure.
No way.
I feel like that was sort of the end of innocence, for my generation.
My generation as well.
So it was definitely a unique time. All right, let's see. I always try to think, what will this particular group like? I'm going to put out the Deborah Sampson, because that's the show that they're seeing, because I always choose the flyers that play bills that they can learn more. And then I always choose another program. So I'm going to put the Hedy Lamarr ones out, because generally this demographic, they're in their like 60s or so. This is a company that this is the reason why we're at the Hyatt is this is a private performance for a tour company, and they come from all over the United States to learn about the American Revolution. They're very studious, very like super interested in history. So try to think of things that they're a little bit they're pop culture-y, but they're also kind of not typical programs that you'd see. And Hedy Lamarr's got kind of that, if you're in your 60s, 70s, that pop culture, like you kind of remember her from when you were a kid watching the movies, but you didn't really know that much about her. So that's what we try to go for.
Yeah, that even me with Princess Diana. Like, I remember the name, but that's literally it till she died.
Right. Yeah. Yes. So we're doing, I might actually do at the beginning of next month. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do a rehearsal, like a broadcast rehearsal for our subscribers for the Diana program.
That'd be a great idea. I'd be a lot interested in that.
I think so. So that's unfortunately, we're not doing virtual. We're not intending, I should say, to do a virtual version of Diana's program. And it's mostly because space wise, logistically, like it's a large set, and I
Yeah,
just
you
don't,
probably can't do it.
it's just not gonna be able to fit in our studio. I mean, I could potentially rent a larger space, but if I'm gonna do that, I'm just gonna do a regular theatrical performance, rent a theater, sell tickets, and then have a professional videographer come and record it, which is definitely on the radar for what we plan to do, because there's so many people in downtown Boston that want to see the show, but for whatever reason, we tend to book more of our performances outside of like Connecticut and New York, and not as many in downtown Boston. Like today I'm in downtown Boston, but it's a private show, so the public can't attend.
Yeah.
I used to invite just like I'd let like five or 8 guests at the most come, but since COVID,
Yeah.
I just can't really do that anymore. So it's fine.
I mean, is COVID still running rampant over there, or?
Every state has experienced an uptick in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, but I suppose as you come out of lockdown, that's to be expected.
Yeah, and it's now the news is all crazy about monkeypox,
Oh, what?
which you hear the news and you literally are just like, all right, what's next? Like you can't shock me anymore.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I am now.
You can throw the monkeypox at me, the bat pox at me, whatever you want. I'm down. Just taking it as it comes. So it just seems like another thing they want us to be scared about is really what it seems like to me.
And this is why I don't watch the news.
I don't watch the news. I mean, I read the news, but I read from a very particular specific publications, and they're not all on one side, because I'm by no means a Republican or a Democrat, you know, which are our two political parties. I'm a very stalwart independent. So
Yeah.
I don't vote with parties.
I remember when COVID first came here, all our TV stations took off the regular programming for like 2 weeks for news.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how crazy Australia got.
Yeah. Did they actually have barriers up, like blocking you from driving down the road into another state?
I think they did, but I never actually saw them because I never tried to break lockdown.
Right, of course, yeah.
I knew people that tried to break lockdown and refused to vaccinate and whatever. It's like, mate, if you get COVID, you brought it on yourself.
Right. I mean, I will say I know a lot of people who were vaccinated and still got COVID, and pretty badly. So there's a lot of unknowns, unfortunately, with a new medicine.
Yeah, well, luck of the draw, unfortunately.
I think it has more to do with your personal strength of your immune system than it has to do with, you know, a lot of like, are you eating well? Are you well rested? Yeah. When you
like my immune system is pretty strong, so if I get COVID, it's probably not the end of the world.
Right. I did. I mean, over Christmas, I was very sick. I tested negative 2 days before I had symptoms, and then there were no tests because everyone was sick with Omicron, so I didn't test during the worst of my symptoms. But then maybe 2 days after my symptoms were gone, I also tested negative. But what was crazy is I lost my taste and my smell. So
yep, that's usually with COVID.
Yeah. So I think I had it. I think I did.
Yeah.
So this
room in Australia now, like we've got COVID and the flu because we're coming into winter.
Of course, yeah, of course. So I've had the flu, and if what I had was actually COVID, the flu was much worse for me.
I mean, I haven't had the flu since I was in high school, not properly anyway.
Yes, same. I had something. So after I debuted, did you see the World War II performance? I think you did, the World War Women performance. Yeah, so
I saw that.
I after I wrote that show, I finished that performance and I debuted it. It was December of 2017. And I think it was just like the stress of
Yeah.
getting the show on its feet. And I hadn't been eating properly. I was so sick.
Mm.
I was sick for like 3 months. I was in the hospital getting fluids. I've never been that sick in my whole life.
And of
That
course, you
was
have to pay for healthcare over there, don't you?
well, so the United States has privatized health insurance, which is,
Yeah.
you know, a big debate that like Obama tried to change that and passed the Affordable Health Care Act. And then a lot of people didn't like it because it forced you to have insurance, but you still had to pay for it. So for some people, they went from not having insurance and having no penalties to being forced to pay like $3,000 a month for insurance that they didn't feel they needed. But, you know,
I
but
mean,
so
I
for
have
some
health
people,
insurance, but it's not $3,000 a month. It's $170 a month.
exactly. So it was a new system. It had a lot of holes in it, and Trump kind of tried to dismantle it and wasn't really able to dismantle it completely, but did in some ways. And now we're kind of in this limbo where like there's so many other things going on congressionally, they haven't even given it any attention yet.
Well, we have a choice. Like, you can have the free healthcare, or you can have private insurance.
Right. It's like Canada.
Yeah. When I was last in hospital, unfortunately, I made the mistake of going to the same hospital and my mother passed away in.
Uh,
So
sorry.
yeah, on top of having the hernia fixed, that brought back so many bad memories. I was having flashbacks.
Yeah. I'm sorry
So
that your mother passed away.
that's all right. I mean, these things happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. Was that a long
I
time
got
ago?
out
Or?
of, so I got out of hospital like, no, I'm gonna get private health insurance. I'm not going there again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no, mom said she knew it was coming. She had a liver failure.
Sorry.
Not from drinking,
But
but from medications.
yeah. Yeah. My mother passed away as well, and people are like, "How'd you die?" And I mean, I always say she died because of medications. That's what I say. I'm like, I mean, they'd say she had cancer, but I don't, you know, I don't think the cancer killed her. I think it was the medications, the chemo, the radiation, all the drugs. I think that's what did it, to be perfectly honest. All right.
Well, my mother was diagnosed with bipolar in 1990, and they put her on such extreme medication for it.
Oh my gosh.
Guess what? 20 odd years later, it's going to stuff up her liver.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And of course, the children are left to pick up the pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That stuff does affect your liver.
Yeah.
You're right.
I knew that was the reason I didn't even take painkillers.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a friend whose mom became really, really hooked on opioids because they prescribed so many. All right, so this is gonna go, hold on one second, I just need to think. So everything I put on the table has to go on the table in a certain order because I have to wear it. From a historic perspective, a lot of reenactors will get on your case if you don't do things really 100% accurate. So the cartridge box, you never take it off, right? Because it has your gunpowder on it. So when you put it on, it's the first thing you put on. So it has to be on the top of the pile of my equipment. And then the last thing that you have is your water canteen, because you need to be able to take your water canteen on and off really quickly to refill it and to give water to your friend or another soldier who's maybe been injured or sick. So that's the thing that needs to come off frequently. That's going to be the last thing that goes on. There you go. I have to kind of talk out loud to do it, so I remember. Okay, so that's that. I got my pension letter here. I got my enlistment letter here. Got my musket ball bag here. and fill up my water so I don't get thirsty during the show. Got my lucky musket ball here. I'm gonna dig that out of my leg later on. My light infantry helmet here. All right. I'm nearly set up now. So when I go, I'm going to be going into a dressing room to change for about 15 minutes. The live stream will still be going, but I'm not going to record it after I finish setting up. So I'm going to, ooh, my tree. I had an assistant help load into the hotel and they put my tree all the way on the other side of the room and I didn't even see it till now. My tree. A little bit of an outdoorsy wilderness feel. I wish we had slightly better lighting. Sometimes these rooms, this is an odd room because they've got really good lights in the middle of the room, but I'm setting up on the edge of the room and the lighting is a little bit less exciting over here. I do bring spotlights when I'm on like a formal stage, but because I'm in like a conference room, and I can't have people tripping on the wires because I don't have any way to separate the audience from the stage. So I have to be very aware of the fact that people are going to walk right up to the set. They're not going to pay attention. They will generally find, if there's potentially something to trip on, people will trip on it.
Yeah, then of course you end up getting sued.
Yes, which is why we have business insurance. Because you can never be too careful on that stuff. Okay. So that's done. I will not put out the pine needles because I'm on a carpet. And that's just clean up.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? You as well. All right. Is there a room? We can take one of these carts away. These luggage carts, and then
I set up yesterday for 36. Right?
yeah, I think we might. I think there's just a couple people that have flights this morning, so because they have flights, they might not be able to stay for the performance. I think they might be sitting in the back. I think we're good chair wise. Yeah. Dial 0. Okay, great. And you know what? I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna move this box. I'm gonna put it in the back of the room. You can take both of these luggage carts too, just so they're out of the way. Thank you so much. It's not the most attractive, but there we go. Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful day. Appreciate it. Pretty good. Let's get the music set up. Oh, we're so early. Love it. Love it when things get set up quick. Let's give you some more space. Probably. I don't want anyone to trip on this either. All right, I think that'll be good. There's a, although there was a electric cord right there, so I'm gonna. I think we'll figure something out. Music. So that's connected. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry. There it is. Yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry. All right. Let's see. Now, let me plug my phone. Good morning, how are ya? So this first row will be available.
Pardon, the
First row will be available. We're just finishing setting up. It happens, don't worry. It's kind of par for the course with this program. Yeah, but you're gonna get to see the best part of the program.
There you go.
A lot of people will eventually say that this was like the highlight of the trip. I've been doing this program for Rhodes Scholar for almost 6-7 years now. So yeah.
So that's what I told any performance. I'm like,
See, you got it. You got the right idea there. You got the right idea.
New York last week, Green the Velvet Road. And so it was Broadway.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's all good.
And did you do that with Rhodes Scholar? Oh, very
I'm on
cool.
a 40-day road trip, so, yeah, this is day 25.
Good. That's awesome. I'm glad. Where are you normally based?
Salem, Oregon.
Oh, wow. Is this your first time to the Northeast?
You know what? I've been to New York, but that's the day I've been from New York to like Niagara Falls.
Yep.
So never kind of get past that artificial border.
Right, right,
So this time I'm doing Northeast. They're the only states I haven't been to.
right. Oh, gosh. Well, so you had a little bit of a mix of weather if you were here during the week.
Oh my gosh, honey, in Wyoming, our winds were 65 plus.
Oh, wow.
That's what it said on the road.
Okay, so you had a better better weather selection here, I think. Not as extreme. Well, I have heard such wonderful things about Oregon, and I've not yet had the fortune to visit. So I hope in the next year or so. My sister and I will always take annual sister trips, so we try to go somewhere domestic. That's just, you know, not. Oh, I know. Yeah, I've done a lot of traveling internationally through my whole life. I mean, I'd still like to get back, but you know, once COVID hit, it just became a little bit more difficult, just with testing requirements. And I know it's starting to ease up now, but not always, you know.
And I had an appointment to be a counselor in San Francisco to get a visa to go to China in 2021.
You're like, I'm feeling like this is the sign. Yeah, I mean, there's so many more Europeans who've actually seen more of the United States than we have seen of our own country. I worked as a tour guide for many, many years. And so we would get visitors from all over the world on the Freedom Trail, which you probably did the Freedom Trail with Charlie this week. And it was just amazing how many more states and national parks they'd seen than I'd ever been to, you know. And I thought to myself, wow, this is something I have to rectify. Yeah, I think I look younger than I am, but thank you. Thank you.
At some point, you don't look at it. You know what I mean? You go, okay,
I think when you,
I guess I better get with it.
right, exactly. It either happens gradually or it all happens like in one fell swoop, right?
Well, I have to tell you guys more about Lexington and Concord that I could have had. I feel like I've changed.
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, well, what's amazing is that so many people learning about the American Revolution don't realize that like all of the events that they teach you in school, those weren't even during the revolution, like the Tea Party, the massacre, all of this stuff was before the war.
So much was Massachusetts.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it really hit home.
Yeah.
I mean, like Yorktown and all that, which is amazing. Well,
We're troublemakers.
so you're a native.
I'm born and raised, yeah. But I've lived elsewhere, so I've like seen, like I lived in Nevada, and I've lived in other countries too. So I've like seen how do I say, how in some ways rebellious, in some ways just overly confident, like Bostonians tend to be. Not in a bad way necessarily. It's just the personality of how we are. All right. I think we're about ready to set things up in the upstairs.
I want a t-shirt, but I hesitate to wear it. I'm not sure if we like it in Boston, Oregon.
Oh, but that t-shirt is about, it's an actual quote from the woman who you're going to see come to life today, who was the first woman to fight in the American military disguised as a man. And she went on a national lecture tour after her service to make money for her family. Oh. You okay?
You're gonna confuse you now. I'm in here. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll put it over here. Here, we're moving the camera just so it doesn't get into anyone's way here. All right. We're gonna go up and change. Folks will be able to sit in the front row. Do you need a copy of the introduction? You're gonna, okay.
Oh, no.
You have it?
Oh, 9 o'clock. I thought
That's all right.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they're so early today.
Sorry.
Totally fine. It's actually a little bit better. Plug you in. Or did I put that?
Nobody here. I'm just working up to it.
And yeah, well, actually,
That's what I have to do. I can't write beforehand. I have to have it.
Yeah.
Karen, you can still see this, the playing area, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Let's see if we can plug in this. Pardon me. Make sure we're good. Battery wise. For 1 second. Yeah, 46. So we're gonna have this plugged in. Longer power cord. So I'm always making lists in my head, and then I'll type them into my phone later on. What do I need? What do I need? Longer power cord. All right, plug it in here. We should be able to get more power. Oops. All right, good. We are charging. All right, I won't, Karen, I'm just gonna let you know, I won't be wearing earbuds during the show. You should still be able to hear just from the microphone on the phone. But it won't be a direct connection. So something about the earbuds doesn't look quite so historically accurate.
No.
I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't look historically accurate. That's good. They usually not do this early. Usually don't show up about 15 minutes. Water.
Well, it's better now.
Nancy, I'm gonna move these chairs just so we have a little bit more space in front. No worries. I just wanna make
It
sure
will
that.
say speed limit 25 miles, but it's not the car. So I go, am I going to do that? I'm going 25, but it's just a alerting. Or red light, camera, red.
It helps because sometimes speed limit
And there are speed traps. Yeah. I have received one speed.
All right. I will see you on the flip side. I'm gonna stop the recording and I'm gonna go upstairs and I will be down soon.
All little towns on non-traffic roads have. You know, I mean, it said 35